Hey there, everybody. How's it going? Let's see. Y'all may notice my face looks a little bit different. I accidentally used the wrong clip when trimming, so the beard's a lot shorter than usual. But yeah, hey, makes me look a bit more youthful, I think. So little bit less homeless energy. Let's see. All right, so let's how do I share this? There we go. More office worker. Yeah. It's all right. It'll grow back before you know it. You'll be able to see it in real time. Just as like it's like every stream, it just becomes a little bit more darker, like the shadows under my eyes. Um, okay. See at dev stream. Is it stream viewers? Okay. Okay. So now I'm sharing the stream on Discord. Hey there, Z. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, I think. Okay. So that should be pretty nice. Okay. So yeah. So now, you might get a lot of new people today. Um, So, just in time for my office worker era. But yeah, let me actually pull up what I've been working on. Okay, so pulling up that and that. Okay, so let's see. All right. So here's the city as we know it. Hey, I'm glad to hear, Slan. Welcome to the stream. How does VS Code apply to Roblox? Well, I have a pretty advanced workflow at this point that does a bunch of little fancy things. And it just makes more sense for me to write my code in an external editor. Then I use Rojo to sort of sync it in. Yeah, thank you, Soup. Thank you. It was fully unintentional. Nice lighting. Uh, Thank you, Mr. Sun, for this beautiful light. It's rainy today, and I actually really like rain. Yeah, but no, I used the wrong clip length when shaving, and so now I technically still have it, but not really. So we'll get to watch that return over the following weeks. Oh, thank you. Makes sense. See, Yes, Eric. I am. My name is Chris. Yeah, I'm replacing CJ for. No, no. Yeah, so I do look a little bit different. Promise is temporary. Um, Thank you, thank you. Yes, it was fully accidental because I cannot remember what clip I'm supposed to use for the life of me. So quests, I'm open to. Storyline, I'm open to adding world building and lore, but I don't like linear stories in games. I feel like that misses the point of games. If you want a linear story, movies exist, you know? Yeah. So let me show some of the stuff I've been working on with the editor. We have action bar. Action bar. Yeah, it's beautiful. Action rail. Oh yeah. Page selector. Preview icon. I know. My best work. Let's see, tab. I actually do really like the tab one. I think that looks really good. I like the little animation it does. Let's see. How do I feel about God of War? I think God of War is better than many story-based games because it has some pretty good combat stuff. Um, I think you like. I can imagine someone playing God of War because they enjoy the combat. Does that make sense? I don't. I think that in terms of a way to share the story of Kratos, the retired god, and his and being a single father. Frankly, I don't. I think it would have been better if it wasn't a video game. I think that would have been like. Can't you imagine an HBO TV show for God of War that is actually better? You know, like that. That's my point. It's not that you can't have a good game with a linear story. It's that a linear story is kind of corrupted when made into a video game. Like it could have been better as something built for linear narratives, which is almost every other media. They chose the one media which you don't do linear narratives with, and it's just frustrating, you know. But hey, you know, I understand. I think God of War gets a bit of a pass because the story started off as the backdrop for fighting mechanics. It wasn't really a story-based game until the reboot, and even then, they still had some good fighting stuff. So like I give it more of a pass than say any Naughty Dog game, which I feel most Naughty Dog games are very clearly just they wanted to make movies, but for some reason ended up in game dev, which is frustrating because you should make games. Yeah. Let's see. Dang, congrats on catching the plane, Eric. I've been told that I'm supposed to catch a train quite often. Let's see. The I checked and character editor might be a surprise to me. We'll see. Well, the character editor we're still working on it, as you can tell. But we have some mock-ups for it. Basically, the idea is we want to make this character editor be uh, be very easy to use on different devices. And so I've been building out these components. The final one is the card list, which does not look great right now, but you know, we'll work on that. Let's see. I think one thing I need to do is just I need to set up background color. Okay. But yeah, yeah, let's see. So in terms of what's planned for this game, it's really just a um the goal here is I want this remake to be a refresh for the entire series. I want to have some, so I want the combat to feel better. I want the character editor to feel better. And just in general, I want it to just feel like a higher quality game. And then once we have that higher quality set, we can start going in some more interesting directions. For one, you right now we have it so that you can actually equip multiple powers at once. You can like have a sword in one hand, a gun in the other, and fly around at the same time. And I think that's pretty cool. And so yeah, that's probably the main mechanical difference right now. Everything else is just more for getting the customization to look better and to be easier to do. But yeah. Also, in terms of these buildings, for anyone who's attending for the first time, this is what the city actually looks like. Yeah, I do a bunch of procedural decoration to add the windows. It's nice. Caused a few headaches though, getting these triangle windows to work. But yeah, the so that's the this is the current city essentially, and I've added some nicer lighting, as I believe what was it, Razor, as I believe Razor pointed out. Because since I'm working on the UI, not the map, might as well have a nicer lighting setup. Oh yeah, no, I'm really happy with the dock. Like this is supposed to be like the Superhero Life 2 map sort of evolved over time to an extent. Though obviously there are some key differences. Um, but yeah, no, I'm pretty excited about this. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, none of them have interiors yet, but we'll be getting on that. Well, okay, that's kind of true. We do have procedurally added interior storefronts. Like if you wanted to walk up to a store, it now like has a little storefront. But these are just procedurally added, and as you can see, there's nothing really in them. But yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with how all that looks. Yeah, yeah, no, I thank you, Green Combo. Yeah, it's been a long journey. Though I crunched the math. I record my screen time. I've been doing it for like a few years now. But I record my how long I've been working on it, and it's only been around 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks in terms of like pure screen time working on Superhero Life 2. Um, like it obviously feels longer because we've been streaming for like 3 or 4 months, but like the actual game, if I was doing this full time, this is where I would be at 6 weeks, which I think shows how far I've come as a game developer in many ways. But yeah, the we could have function for the cargo ships containers. Oh yeah, no, I agree. I would love to have these boats kind of come in and out, like just to have, and that could be a fun little mechanic, as well as you could have like sort of people like getting away, like if you do a crime and then escape the city on hiding on one of the boats. Like there are a lot of fun things we can do with this, like and that's really the goal of this remake. It's not necessarily to do those fun things yet, but to have a sturdy foundation for if we want to go in any of those directions. It's to create the canvas for some really fun gameplay moments. And yeah, that's the current goal. The Let's see. So new card. What is it? Yeah, the okay, so let's what was I focusing on? Okay, okay. I was getting the icon to be a better color. Um, which I actually went through it and made the dynamic theme engine. I sort of previewed it. And so this is what the theme engine looks like. And with a few adjustments, I can actually show you what that looks like when iterated. So here's how the theme engine looks. So let me, okay, I'm commenting that code. And here we go. So this is what the themes will look like in the game. So when you can just set a color versus, dark mode or light mode, and it will, give you a theme. Having some destructible areas would be quite nice, but beyond just small changes right now, I have no official plans. Like you could like knock over a flagpole or something. Man, y'all don't understand how much I like this color engine. Yeah, the actually wait, this one's actually when it's set to elevation 1. When I set it to elevation 0, it's a little bit more visible. There we go. Yeah, like you can like this is how you make a UI that looks very clean. And I had to port an entire TypeScript repository to get that working. And so as a result, um, as you set your character's color, we can actually have the UI theme to match it, and we can make some stuff that looks really good without having to worry so much about what color we should be using in any one area. So yeah, expect that to pop up. I think it looks pretty good. I wonder what's happening. You see like a little flashy yellow right there. There's like right when we're looping around, you'll see it like get yellow for yeah, like right there, right before we go to the greens. I wonder what kind of math is causing that. Huh. Oh well. I don't think it's important enough to figure out, but still, very, very, very fun stuff. And so let's go back to working on the editor. So we have the card list, and we want to make this. Okay, so how about let's put it. Let's make a container instead. Yeah, no. If it's broken, that's on Google because all I did was port their code. This is the color engine they use is an open source library. Um, or the color engine I used is their open source library. Okay, so going back to the card list, um, sounds like a Star Trek episode. The all right, so we have text color state. Okay, so how are okay, so there's like a box. We need to have a box here. All right, so let's find the preview. There we are. Okay, so now we can mm, no, it's still got container dot new. Okay, so so this is the part where if you all were just checking in to see how stuff is going, that was what we were just doing. Now's the part where I do boring UI coding for 2 hours. So this is where the interesting stream ends. Where did superheroes go to therapy? Well, I believe Red Rage had had an anger management day job. Um, yep, yeah, we're trying to make sure that it ports well to both um, mobile users and PC users, and so we're just having to think through all that stuff. A classic joke, Z, A plus. Honestly, time traveling C, I would love to have the NPCs kind of react to like the state of the city, you know? Like if like if everything's on fire, like you can see like you have like more like NPCs acting, out of turn, everyone's kind of leaving, you can kind of I think it should get more difficult if you don't take care of the city. No. Though I have to say, Z, that scene does sound very funny. Just awkward silence. Like that scene from Joker or something. There's that little like microphone like tone sound. hmm hmm Is there going to be a blocky body option? So we have support for a few different body types in mind. Um, let me pull out one of those. Where did I put them? Okay, here they are. All right, so here's the current plan for different body types. So we have blocky, we have R10, R12, then R2016. As to which one we actually go with, well, for one, all of these will be available for custom servers. Like if you want to set your server to be a specific body type, you can. But for the main game, it's really just going to be what ends up looking the best. Probably not blocky for the main game. We might end up going with like 2010 or something. Honestly, I kind of like the expressiveness of 2012, but the hands are too weird. You know, we'll figure out exactly what fits, but just know that you will have the option for those who really want it. But yeah, okay, so Okay, let's add another one. Synthetic.util dot container? No, dot list dot center. Well, I think the problem is a lot of folks who enjoy Blocky are people who are older. You know, like y'all are in your late teens for the most part, from what I can tell. It's because this game came out when you were kids. It came out in 2017. That was what, 7 years ago, almost to the day. Like Roblox has changed a lot since then, and so if I am a for me to be able to do, you know, games in superhero life indefinitely, they're going to need to start making money at some point, and that means not just catering to the old audience, but sort of expanding to a new one. And as far as I can tell, the new generation on Roblox really does not have a preference for the blocky one. I think the blocky one is something that's exclusively for people who are like, pre 2020. Uh, and I want to still support it though. Like that's the thing. I'm not saying, oh yeah, the new generation exists, so screw y'all. I'm trying to win over them now. No, I want to support both, and that's why I'm putting all this effort in because I want to support both. But I think we do have to recognize that there is a both to support. It's not just y'all anymore. It's not just the people who like Blocky anymore. Now, like the top games on Roblox, but like as much as we all agree that the Arthro skins are super ugly, they're very popular. And I don't want to make Arthro. I think that that's a misstep. But I do want to support body types beyond just the blocky ones. And that's my reasoning on it, at least. And because, I'm covering my bases with having built-in compatibility, it's just, trying to find the right balance of everything. Still, I think things are coming up pretty well. Okay. Yeah, no, I think bad business definitely is probably the most successful character rebrandings for a Roblox game. Um, the I think the thing to consider though is that I'm not even trying to make like a new character type necessarily. I'm just trying to. Um, well, I wonder what you think of that joke today, Z. Very good, very good. Hey there, Zayden. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, but Bad Business did a fine job with their characters, and I think it's an iconic look. I actually even knew those devs. I sat next to them um, during the 2019 internship. They helped me with some of the Mortal Metal gun stuff. Very nice people, very talented, extremely talented. And it's funny. You can kind of just. I don't want to say that you can just tell if someone's going to be talented when you meet them, but at the internship, the kinds of people who go on to make amazing games, um, it never surprises me because it's like the people who like just lock in. Like there's an intensity about them almost. And I think that they definitely have that. The But yeah, no, I think that the custom characters there are good in the same way like a Minecraft. Like you can have blocky look good. I'm not saying you can't, but I am not I'm not a full art team, you know? I don't want to reinvent the wheel. Back when I was working with Ryan, who is a very talented artist, making a custom character style was a bit more viable. Nowadays, though, it's just me. he's doing much cooler things now, like getting a PhD and all these crazy things. Um, so like I just kind of got to limit the scope of the art. And at the end of the day, I'm much more quick as a programmer than I am as an artist. And so for that, if we want to have a character style that's good, it has to be a pre-made one. And that limits us to, other body types. And, I don't think the blocky one is the one we should stick with forever. I think that that is not very future proof because right now, I'd guess, well, program. Honestly, I'm coming around to that idea. Is Z for a while I was thinking like, oh yeah, no, programming's like scientific. It's like logical. It's math. But there is an oddness to your expertise where at some point it becomes a gut instinct. You don't really think things through. You don't really go through stuff. You just kind of do, but you've been subconsciously training yourself for years to always do the thing which makes the most sense. Like your growth is still rational. You're still learning, but the actual behaviors are like solving a Rubik's cube or something. You're it's like muscle memory. And I think that both makes it very flexible, but also very dangerous because you are acting on instinct. You sometimes are blind to when the situation changes. And that's why I'm very glad I have analytics as a back pocket solution for when my understanding just does not add up. How I can like, make sure that I'm always seeing things the right way. No, no, I agree, Slend, in terms of like it's definitely I mean, I consider myself a technical artist to an extent. Like, with this map stuff right here, like having the buildings be able to be decorated, because these buildings are decorated via code. That's technical artistry. And this is the school for Zayden who asked. There's no interior yet, but this is the building it's going to be in. Um, yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Right next to the hospital. Ended up removing the giant parking lot. Yeah. Say that you show that you grew up in the suburbs without saying you grew up in the suburbs. Yeah, no, I think that like just comparing my map design skills between 2017 and now, it is night and day. Like the map has verticality, there's the density is much more reasonable. The buildings themselves have so much more variety and despite the fact that they're procedurally decorated. Like I like just like this kind of building design. This is not a building I could design back in 2017. And so yeah, I'm pretty happy with how all this is turning out. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Looks like an actual city. Yeah, I guess it's helped me that I've lived in Manhattan and uh, you know, Vitoria, Brazil. I've lived in many cities, uh, San Francisco. I'm in Denver right now. Like, I have a lot more city experience these days, and I think that that is showing. Like just like this street view right here. This is not something I could even that would ever make sense in like superhero life too, Like you could just like you imagine just like walking along or something. A super speed. Yeah. Yeah. So Slendon, in my opinion, the best way to make something that looks like a city is to understand urbanism, understand urban design in general. Like look at how actual cities are built. Like get super red pilled on like walkable city design and stuff, and they'll and go to that practical engineering YouTube channel where they talk about how infrastructure is designed and Just get a vibe for that stuff because a lot of things here, you know, are not necessarily are just things that sort of make sense when you stop and think for a moment. Like, okay, for example, with this street, I remember that with when I was first making this area right here, I originally had both of these leading into this area, and then I realized, well, wait, no, this would be a one-way street entrance. And then like sort of like thinking, okay, well, how would the traffic actually stop here when I'm putting the stoplights? What buttons do people need to be able to see? Like just sort of put your head into the city. Like just I think like, okay, why would this be built this way? And like what would people want to consider when making it? And in some ways, I think it actually makes it kind of uncreative. It's a bit like less of a being artistic and more about being thoughtful when it comes to designing a map. Because, okay, y'all hate Zootopia like I do? Because I hate Zootopia. Because I think that for a city, Elemental too, for a city, Monsters Inc., it's because I feel like with Pixar, this is mostly Pixar, but there are a lot of places that do this. They'll like have this massive change to humans. Like, oh yeah, these humans can fly now. These ones breathe fire. These ones melt things. And then I feel like okay, in Monsters Inc., the fact that cars still look about the same, if a little bit meaner, is ridiculous. There are people who can fly. In a world where people can fly, do you really think car-dependent infrastructure would take off? No. In a world where people can be the size of a beach ball or the size of like a gorilla, you know, like do you really think we're going to standardize a car size? Like no, like you see, like it's about they don't really think through the world. They don't really think about the implications of it. And I feel like that's all good map design is. All that's all good environmental design is. Understand your world. Understand the implications of the design choices you made. And frankly, like that's probably the biggest critique you could have against this city itself. It does not look like a city um, where you know everyone has superpowers. That's something I have a problem with it with My Hero Academia. You know, like the entire city, everyone has superpowers, and the city just kind of looks normal. And so hopefully over time, especially as we flesh out interiors, like I'd love to have things where like to have all that. But I guess in this case though, superheroes are always more of a rare thing rather than like every person has it. But all I can say is that if you critique this city by saying it doesn't look like a city where superheroes exist, um, I think you're kind of right. But actually, no, that's not true. I'm not being fair to myself. Check this out. This is the prison, and you can tell it's the prison because for the first time they have the yard area underground because people can fly. And so there's going to be like a laser grid here because how do you let prisoners go outside to exercise when literally they can fly away? Well, you do it. You put it underground. You know, like that. That's this kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like just thinking through this kind of stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I think that that's really the key to making a good map. You have to think about the implications of the world you've actually created. Um, you know, this is something that which the old superhero life games did horrible with. Like okay, for one, back in Superhero Life 2, it's a city where there's a parking lot. We're like a good like tenth of the area of the city is taken up by a parking lot in a city with literally one or two cars. It, it's ridiculous, you know. Like it is, and also like the zoning. Like okay, here's something which I tried a little bit to improve in this game. I tried to make the zoning not look so crazy because obviously in the original Superhero Life to there's just such like massive towers despite the small island size. And so by making the island a little bit bigger and spreading things out a bit more, and also just making stuff a bit shorter, I think that I made the city look a little bit less like it's just a bunch of towers in the middle of the ocean. But still, it's not perfect. We should probably lower things a bit more, but still, that's my point. Make it a good city design is about thinking through the decisions because when you have a system designing something, there are not um, there are not a when somebody makes a bridge, they're not usually being an artist. Like there is artistry in some aspect of the design, especially in the early stages, but like a lot of stuff that appears on a bridge is due to physics, is due to budget constraints, is due to like the local culture emergent from the various practices at the in the standards bureaus and stuff. Like all of these systems kind of go together to create this sort of bridge effect, kind of like with like clothing manufacturers. Ever notice how all shirts only have two armholes? Like there aren't many with three. I'm sure there's some out there for some weird fashion thing, but like two armholes for a shirt. And it's because every person has at most two arms usually. And that's the kind of thing. Build for your city. If you only have a material that can handle a certain amount of stress, you should be adding supports to stuff. You should like with okay, right here. See, like I actually remembered this when making this area here. Like, okay, we have this dock. How frequently do we need to add supports for this to be viable? I even added like a concrete underlayer for it. Like there's, I don't know. Superhero Life 2 was such an incoherent mess. And I'm very happy to finally be able to think through some stuff a little bit. But yeah, no, it makes sense. I've actually been to Tokyo. It's funny. I didn't realize how specific a vibe Tokyo had until I went to it. Like all of a sudden I went there, I was like, oh crap, this is anime. This is like I didn't realize, oh wait, the way they've been drawing the cars is actually different. I just kind of didn't notice until I went there and it's like, ah, this is how it looks. Like so this is why all of the streets look the same. It's like, okay. Yeah, it's very interesting. Um, but yeah, no, I respect that, Slim. Definitely, I am in favor of adding a lot more personality to the world building of this city. I think that this one's probably a little bit more on the boring side, but once we get to like Superhero Life 3, which is supposed to be cyberpunk, that's where you get some really crazy stuff. Because this one is supposed to be like modern day. It's actually supposed to be like 2010s even. So the all of this stuff can't be too crazy probably, but I do want to add some stuff. All right, thank you for stopping by, Zayden. Apologies that I was too deep in my rant about map design to to read that in time. A gym would be kind of nice, honestly. That just like a superpowered gym. That might be something though that you add to your base customization. Wouldn't that be cool if you just like have like host a gym in like your base, just like okay, everyone goes to the secret combat gym where like the entire area is just a secret like underground layer where you like punch cars and stuff. Let's see. At a comic large spoon, I'll consider it Chris Terminator. Who wins in a fight, Red Ridge or Nightfire? Hmm. I think that one's probably based on their distance from each other. Because if I recall, Nightfire has fire abilities, right? Either that or I'm an idiot when I named them. And Red Rage can fly. And so if Red Rage, but the thing is, Red Rage isn't fireproof. Like the question is, who will get, who will take too much damage first? I feel like if Red Rage lands a single punch on Nightfire instant out, instant over, dead. You know, but like I feel like there's a lot more versatility for Nightfire to possibly set Red Rage on fire. You know, like Red Rage isn't super agile or anything. They can't like dodge in the same way that say the yellow fast guy, the what was his name? It's like yellow and black armor with green eyes. I'm tired. I'm sorry. Radiant Runner. That was it. Yeah, like there's not the same agility as them. And so honestly, of the two, I probably Radiant Runner would have a much better chance at beating Night Fire because Radiant Runner could like run fast enough to set out the flames. Red Rage, though, you just set like you set the guy on fire and he's gone. Like like he doesn't have invulnerable skin. He if you set him on fire, he'll deal with it the same way as everyone else, which is very poorly. So yeah, I didn't. Okay, well I didn't remember that. Huh. How strong is Red Rage? I mean, I think it's safe to say that Red Rage has the highest like strength value of any of the uh, of any of the characters, except for maybe Clamaton, but that's obviously a different situation. Yeah, I would love if you know what Superhero Life 3 needs? Sentinels from like the X-Men. Because Mortal Metal is sort of coming up in the lore, we should probably start adding those robots to Superhero Life 3, and that'd be fun if we could have like the occasional robot fight in the Superhero Life 3 remake. Yeah, Radiant Runner sounds like they'd have a much better matchup against uh, Nightfire. Well, Mortal Metal itself, I probably won't be able to remake. I'll have to reread the contracts, but I believe the ownership of the game is split across a few different people. I might fully own the IP, and so I can reuse Mortal Metal stuff, like ideas in different games. But I don't think I have the ability to make a sequel without getting a lot of signatures. But yeah, and also just because like much as I like Mortal Metal, I'd rather have more than like 40% of the game. You know, it's like I could just make it from scratch. If they're not going to help me make it, why am I still giving them 60% of the stuff? You know, it's not even like if they were helping me make it, I'd be fine giving them that. But like everyone's busy now. Let's see. That is true. Red Rage's laser blast could be helpful. However, I think Nightfire still, with that in mind, what was Nightfire's other skills? Let's see. Let me let me check the source. Um, okay. All right. Let's. Why can't I find Nightfire? There we go. Okay. So yeah. So this is what I was thinking about with the laser stuff. Um, I think that I think that so the shadow stuff, like the stealth stuff, I think that that is probably much more of a much more of a counter to the lasers than the other stuff. Because once again, I just think that Red Rage is the person you like would send up against the Hulk or something, you know? Like he's like a Hulk Superman combo. That's literally like the idea essentially. Hulk plus Superman. Um, and so Nightfire is a little bit more of like a Batman kind of vibe, you know? Batman with a flamethrower. And I feel like whenever like okay, here's the thing about Superman versus Batman in the comics. Batman wins every time because Superman winning is boring, you know? Where like because Superman is so good at what they do, they don't over prepare. But because Batman knows that they need to over prepare to have a chance, they always over prepare. And so they always win. You know? Like I'm not saying you can't ever find a comic where like Superman, you know, just suddenly just goes out and just beats Batman in like a single go. Like if it's a surprise, Batman usually does not win. But if it's not a surprise, Batman usually wins. And so I guess I will accept that Red Rage could probably beat Nightfire if it was a surprise. But once again, that just comes back down to like the range distance thing. Um, lasers, though, I'm going to have to think about how laser eyes would factor into it. Yeah, well, yeah, I don't think. Well, the problem is time traveling seal. How long do you have to be on fire before you're in trouble? Like, be honest with me. Even if they immediately jump into a lake, if you're on fire for like 10 seconds, that's lifelong like disfigurement and months in a hospital, you know? So it's like that's why fighting night fire would be such a nightmare. Because literally if you mess up a single bit, it's like, yeah, you're out of the game for like a few months, if not, dead. Because when, yeah, it's oof, do not fire damage is kind of messed up, honestly. Man, I want to work on the powers right now. No, I need to work on the editor. I need to work on the editor. I can work on powers later. Work on powers later. Powers will be a nice thing to do when I have a job again, like a full-time job. Currently in between them, and then like in the evening, I'll stream like an hour of it, and then I'll just like make a new power every night. That'll be nice. That's the dream. Design a vibrant city map that players can interact with, including destructible environments. Players can use their powers to manipulate. So that's actually what we are doing right now. So see these little light poles? Basically, all the little light poles and street decorations and trees and stuff. These are all things that you're going to be able to yank up and destroy and knock over. Um, so we're gonna get these in there. Oh yeah. So yeah, I'm a contractor usually. So I do analytics for Blocks Fruits, and I do what's it called? And then I help out a Roblox alternative company get off the ground called Omni Creator Products. They're making some cool stuff with like they're kind of going like a Minecraft meets Roblox approach where they're using procedural map generation to stitch together custom-made contents to make like the ultimate open world MMORPG. So that's cool. They're working on that, but right now they're working on some stuff, and so I don't really have active things to do. And like blocks fruits, they're busy with stuff too. So right now, for the last 2 or 3 weeks, I actually have not been very busy with contract work. Hence why I've been getting a lot. Yes, hence I've been getting a lot more time in superhero life uh, remake. In fact, yeah, no, for real. Yeah, I'm very lucky to work with the Blocks Fruits people, and yeah, the you can if you check the dev group, you'll see I'm like black market overseer or something. Zone, I believe everyone else can hear me, so it's probably on your end, but also he cannot hear me telling him this. So can someone in the chat please tell him? Thank you. Um, thinking about the UI again, how big is it going to be on the screen? Like smaller menus. Oh, so that's actually one cool thing here. So check this out. Tab bar. Okay. So check out here. So if we this is something which I know that the UI stuff is not super interesting to y'all, but there's a reason we're doing it because then if you wanted to make the UI bigger, you can just do this. Scale 2. If you want to make it smaller, you can just do this. If you want to make it, let's see if I got that right. You want to make it dark mode, you can do that. You know, like it is, this is why we suffer so much for good UI development, because when you do it right, it actually unlocks so many cool little, power ups almost. So yeah, so that's the current strategy at least. Congratulations, Zone. Maybe you're the real Eminem. Yeah, Eminem's been pretty quiet since you dropped that rap rap God Godzilla fast part mix. Um, let's see. Thank you, Zayden. I appreciate it. It's good to see y'all be excited about it because I know that when it comes to UI, it's very much like a tech thing. People aren't usually excited about UI, but think that I think that this will lead to a pretty good situation for people. You know, that is true. Okay, so card list. Okay, so let's set that background color. Okay, so what's a good, okay, so we have the surface container highest, but I'm already using a surface container. So what looks good on top of a surface container? I guess inverse surface. Let's try that. Okay, so we're gonna go with background color 3 equals, do nil at first while I find a piece of code, the color stuff on it. There it is. No. Where did I put that? I know it's here somewhere. Do I have to rewrite it? I don't want to rewrite it. There it is. Okay. I was like, I'm sure it's here somewhere. All right. So background color 3. Where? Okay. Yeah. Here we go. All right, so now we're going to do inverse surface. Was it inverse on surface or inverse surface? Now let's see how that looks. Um, action bar, maybe? No, close these. My silly brain can't handle choices. Okay, so that's a bit dark. Let's check the style service theme again. Okay, I'm going to try on surface variant. Let's just try surface variant. Let's just give this a name so I can use it for debugging. I'm sorry, I haven't been reading stuff. I couldn't sleep. I was tired of it. I haven't streamed since probably Tuesday. Oh, sorry to hear that, Zone. If it's all right, I didn't even show up yesterday. I don't know. Some days it's kind of like y'all understand how like missing a day of school feels so much better than a Saturday. Does that make sense to everyone? That concept? And that's what yesterday was for me. I was like, I need a day with no streaming. Thank you. I appreciate it, y'all. Glad we're in sync on this. All right, so how about what's the okay, so we have on surface. So we have surface. Okay, so surface, surface bright. Let's try surface dim actually. Okay, that actually looks perfect. Let's see, should we have it be semi-transparent? Maybe. Uh, where's the transparency stuff being set at? Eh, this is fine. All right. The spacing looks a bit off though. Yeah, we need more of a gap over here. Uh, okay. Let's get that. Okay, let's try that. Okay, that's better. Nice. All right, we have it. Beard tutorials coming soon. Unfortunately, I am less qualified than ever to give that. Will there be weather cycles? Definitely. Yeah, no, I love being able to set the weather. Uh, and yeah, so I've made a lot of progress sort of packaging that up. So that should be a pretty easy thing to add. Um, yeah, the unfortunately no. As much as I would love to add a slider for that, um, that's a lot of mesh deformation work that I don't think I would be rewarded for. Zone. Unfortunately, man, have you looked at your camera? Have you looked at my camera today? I don't really have a beard anymore. So I don't really know what you'd be like. Yeah, as to getting broken up with, honestly, I hope so because I think that reduced to atoms, yes, reduced to atoms that exist to clog my sink drain. But no, Zone, I hope you get broken up with a few times because I think a few breakups build character. I think they show you they're an important thing for a person to understand, both that someone, you can have something important with someone, but also have it not last, and sort of having to keep control of all those emotions during that time. And I think that in many ways it can lead to a much more well-rounded person. Granted, I think I've gone through enough breakups. I think I'm good. I think I've got my character development out of the way. So I'm probably not going to be dating for a while. Just relaxing, enjoying my 20s, trying not to look like I'm 40. What are the 20s but trying to look like you're in your 20s? Is that a normal experience? Or is that just me? Y'all don't understand how painful it is when an Uber driver learns your age and they're just like, "You're in your 20s," and like, no, don't do that to me. Eh. Let's see. I've been coming up with a teen superhero and his powers of redirecting, generating lighting. Sounds fun. I would love to have like that kind of like sort of metal thing. Like if you shoot lightning at like this thing and someone's standing on it, it'd be really funny if it like zapped them off. Wouldn't that be cool? We should do something like that. Remind me to do something like that when we get to the lightning powers. Um, let's see. CJ, am I the Rizzler? Um, I have autistic Riz. I don't necessarily have any issues talking to women, but I don't know. I wouldn't say I define myself as that way. Like, if I want to have a nice night with a woman that is available to me, um, I don't know. It takes a lot of energy. It takes so much energy. That that's you know, rather just do something easier, like work 90 hours a week. Yeah, the mhm. Oh no. Oh no, zone. Not Alabama. All words, no action. Well, what action was I supposed to take, Z? Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so so we have, I think I've finished all of those components. So let's see. So we have all of these in pieces. Let's assemble it together into this, the asset menu. Why do women live longer than us men? Uh, it's a very complicated question, and I think I'd probably require an actual sociological degree, not just a 4-year one, to to answer it. I like to think of it as like the universe balancing out the pay gap. It's like, okay, women, you're not going to get paid as much, and that's unfair. But men, we're going to balance this out for you. You're not going to get to live as long. Oh well, it's possible. I mean, here's the I men definitely do stupid stuff. As a person with two sisters, I can tell you it's not a gender locked concept. Let's see. The hire two girlfriends for you to wake up. Okay. All right. Yeah, well, that was a hyper specific request. See, I would like it if we do not make requests in the future. Yeah, you showed too much of your soul, man. But no, the let's see. I think that hopefully I never enter a rent a girlfriend phase of my life. That would be quite sad. Also, because frankly, I like having savings, and you know the let's see. It's a. I'm sure Z. I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah, you said something messed up when the gaming zone is like clutching his pearls. Okay. One thing I have been seeing lately is One Piece characters, and I was wondering if there's going to be a rubber and transforming power. Rubber powers are a headache. There's no way I'm ever doing a rubber power. I'm sorry. Like y'all, y'all remember how much pain I went through to get layered clothing to work on a body which didn't act like rubber? No way. It literally never doing a rubber power. If anyone buys the choose a power Kofi and it requests a rubber power, they are getting refunded. It is not happening. Like no, it's literally impossible. As far as I'm concerned, it is impossible when you have this kind of customization system. Um, let's see, but transforming got me. You got me, Z. Zone. What I You have a jar of dirt, but do you have but do you keep it? What's the song? You keep a little dirt under your pillow for the dirt man. You know, things guys do. Hopefully that makes sense to anyone. Otherwise, that sounds like the most online thing ever. Okay, so yeah, no, yeah, but Z's right. Like, this is part of the reason why I have to do some development off the stream because otherwise the game will never come out. Okay, so I'm gonna go asset menu. Okay, all right, so asset menu. Underground, that's where he keeps his dirt. Sometimes it helps to talk about the content. That's true. That's true. Yeah, I really it's a skill issue on my part. The I so yeah, so right now what we're doing is we're taking this uh and this and combining it into this. Um yeah. So that's going to be a bit of a headache. That's the thing about UI coding. Um it is the most like unrewarding thing to code. Like you can go through a headache for like 2 hours and the and it'll just be like a menu, you know? It'll just be like, oh yeah, this is a button you can click, and it'll be like the hardest thing you've ever done, and nobody understands, and it's just like what uh what is it? Zone. The starting characters. I think the starting characters are going to probably be the same. Oh, you got me, Zone. I just got chicken butted. Um, the So the starting characters are definitely going to be in the game still because they're iconic. You don't get rid of those. I don't know how I'm going to do character customization in terms of starting. I think I'd much rather like okay, because y'all have seen this phenomena before, where when a person first joins the game, they are all dressed as that like one of the starter characters. Like they're like five red rages all doing the Spider-Man point at each other. And I think that Superhero Life 3, for all its faults, the characters actually are characters. People more or less are always people. And so I wonder if there's a way for us to do like a halfway point where when you first join, it like sends you through like a character pipeline where like you just select five quick things, takes 30 seconds, and then you're done. And then you have a character that looks kind of like you, has a few cool powers, and then you enter the game. And yeah, so that I haven't heard that second one, so that's a new one for me. Is this a Gen Z thing? Okay, keep a, keep a little dirt under my pillow for the dirt man. Ooh, in case he comes to town. Mm. Okay. Um, let's see. Well, I don't know. Making art is interesting because on the one hand, I do think that being able to just create stuff, like creating a cool tower or something, that can be very fun. There's something about knowing that with art you can't really take a shortcut. Like okay, when I first made this city, going through and having to realize, oh no, I have to make every single one of these buildings. That actually was kind of stressful. It gave me a headache. It was like, ugh. Meanwhile, with like the superpowers, I was like, okay, if I make one sword, I can reuse it for like eight different items. Like you get a lot more efficiency. And so I think creating one art asset feels better than creating a whole system of code. But creating a system of code feels a lot better than making 100 art assets. So, it's a gives and takes. Um, yeah. Yeah, the time traveling seal, you are correct. Yeah, sometimes the soul just needs an hour-long tangent about movies. And also, I'm taking it on me personally to make sure none of y'all end up in like that. Um, what was it? In like that Star Wars theory pipeline, where we're going to get you out of here. This is a rescue operation to prevent you from becoming a deeply annoying person. Yeah. The Let's see. This is how I'm a superhero. How does Red Rage have super strength yet normal human durability? Wouldn't he break his arms from punching? So I think that there's a difference between like strong muscles and bones and strong skin. Like honestly, I'm kind of open to the idea that like Red Rage's gloves have to be like super padded or something to like prevent like his skin from just tearing apart, or maybe like they lock in, or it's kind of like one of those things where you like you grab the metal thing, the metal fist things that you can use to like kill someone. Um, like for all I know, Red Rage has those in his gloves to deliver the impact more on the bones and such. Because I think he has strong bones. I don't think that if you set him on fire, he'd necessarily be all right. You know, as to strong muscles, that's hard to say. I feel like muscles are one of those things where like if you're you, it's kind of like with a crocodile mouth, where like if the crocodile is biting down on you, it is thousands of pounds of force. But but you can like hold its mouth shut with your single hand because the muscles are only built in a certain direction. And so like I feel like with Red Rage, it's like the muscles for like punching and like lifting stuff. Those are all super built out. But if you like come at it with like a knife, it wouldn't necessarily protect him, you know? Like they aren't necessarily unsliceable. They're just really good at like stretching and stuff, you know? These are fun conversations. I like these. Um, okay. Pig dimension? No, we're not adding NPC cops for a while. Welcome back, Eric. Blood Rage is a very fun name for Red Rage off the deep end, you know? Blood Rage, that would be like that's like his villain arc era. Like you know where like every hero like has like it goes on a villain arc for a little bit, you know? That I think Blood Rage would be a great name for like when Red Rage goes evil. Also, slightly tangent hot take. I do not care. Nobody will make me like Bakugo. That guy doesn't just have anger issues. That guy's a psychopath. And I don't get why everyone is always like trying to look for the good in him. I swear, I am an okay person. Where is all of that good faith whenever anyone talks to me? Instead, it's like if I'm standing by the elevator, someone will like rush in, like, "Oh, that homeless person broke into the apartment building." Like, no, you're telling me this little psychopath who sets things on fire is everyone like, it's like, "Oh, he's just misunderstood." Nah, yeah, I am not Team Bakugo. Yeah, the lesson for people who relate to Bakugo is work on yourself because people will not be friends with you if you literally exploded them every other day. That's the lesson we should be teaching them, not that like, oh yeah, you should be friends with the psychopath next door. No, 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 no. Nightcycle and his villain arc. Yeah, we'll see. It's tempting. Let's see. So how do we even assemble this? Are any of your superheroes bulletproof? I think if I think I don't I don't think canonically they are because invulnerability was just a hard mechanic to um, patch. But you know, I think like Calamaton is obviously an example of like very resilient. Um, oh yeah, I have to. Why am I doing it like this? I should just copy one of the starter things that I made. Okay. Okay. I appreciate it, Zayden, but I promise you, me in real life is just kind of a. I'm much grumpier, I think, than people realize. I'm a bit of a curmudgeon. I don't like going, you know, to parties or loud places. Kind of just like, quietly talking about video games and stuff. Yeah. Let's see. Is there a way of optimizing your game for devices with code? Uh, yeah. So that's actually a whole field um, of development. In terms of optimization, I think it comes down. So there's a if you're interested in Roblox specific optimization, there's this guy named Mr. Chicken Rocket, I believe, who has written so many useful guides on optimization. But it really depends on the problem you're hitting. In general, when you have a low performance on Roblox, it's coming from a few different areas. Um, there are rendering limitations where you have too many things on the screen at once, like too many triangles. There are, what's it called? Physics limitations, which is where too many things are moving at once, and that can cause something else called network limitations, where you're trying to send too much data to the clients at once, and so people will like be like rubber banding around, and like stuff will just not be smooth. And all of this is layered on top of the idea of a memory leak, where you can use up all of the space in the computer's brain and then make it crash. Most crashes, in my experience, are due to a memory leak. Um, Though, of course, disconnecting is functionally identical to a crash in terms of the user experience. But in terms of optimizing, it really just like if you, for example, are running into a bottleneck where in rendering and like you're trying to draw too much on the screen every frame, yeah, that's where you would do things like swap out distant objects for lower resolution ones, or change the lighting technology to something lighter. Um, they're hide when the camera's facing a certain way, hide everything behind it. There's a that's that kind of stuff. As No worries, Aiden, take as long as you need. Who's Clampton? They're Captain Cool Guy gone evil and attacking the city as a giant robot. It was a Superhero Life 2 event. Um, is the remake almost done? It's getting closer. I Once the character editor's done, I'll be able to more easily answer that kind of question. But in terms of optimization, though, like if you are just doing too much code in a single thing, you can always split it across frames. Like, really, there is no one way to optimize something, but there are measurable limits that you have to work within. And if you want to do something extra fancy and special, like, for example, have a full city with a bunch of interiors and multiplayer and with a bunch of trees and future lighting, that will require you to be a bit strategic with stuff. So I agree that it is hard. It's hard to detect memory leaks. That is true. Beyond that, though, you can usually tell as a developer why it's crashing. If you like, if a person is, for example, okay, here's something in analytics that I've done. You can in the past with analytics, you can actually check like what kinds you can correlate certain in-game activities with like other like with crash rates. You can say like, okay, everyone who enters this room immediately crashes. And so like that'll help you narrow stuff down. And of course, user feedback is very helpful with this kind of stuff. It's not a perfect system, but there are ways to combat it. And that really is just the developer experience. Like you're faced with a problem, it's on you to solve it. And if you solve enough problems, you have a fun game. Yeah, so let's see. Okay, clean up. See you, Razor. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate seeing you. Also, oh yeah, the micro profiler is both the most overpowered tool. The microprofiler is amazing for when you are trying to deal with performance issues related to rendering. Like you can say, oh, it's because it's spending all this time on meshes, or oh, it's spending all this time on UI. It's spending all like it is so helpful for that. The problem is it is one of the least documented things ever, which is sad, but yeah, no, the microprofiler is very handy. Yawning. Okay, so okay, so we've been streaming for about an hour 20. I want to try to go for another 40 minutes, but I'm feeling a little bit hungry, so we'll see. Oh, the person I mentioned. Okay, so if you are wanting to do anything with optimization, you go to this person, and the so this person's tweets are very helpful, but also um, the Roblox Viz tools. Unfortunately, they cost $500 per game, so I didn't buy it because I'd rather not be stuck with a $500 overhead cost for every game I want to make. But this is essentially these are like some of the best articles and stuff on how you optimize a game for rendering. This one isn't so much about crashing as it is keeping a high frame rate. But yeah, no, there's just this person's a genius. They literally have like they're like a person with a bunch of industry experience who started doing Roblox for fun as like a hobby, and then just came in and like just revolution. I just was like, it. I agree that Roblox developers are real game devs, but it's also very clear when a real game dev enters the room. Does that make sense? I think that if a Roblox dev works very hard, they can graduate to reach that level. But like, I swear, there are a lot of game developers who would just decimate the Roblox industry if they took, a few months off to make a game here. Like some absurdly talented people. Yeah, the okay, so how about I think I'm comfortable saying that the asset menu should always be elevation zero. You know, I feel like that's it's a fair decision. I guess I think that everyone can grow in any field. If you go into game dev today, you can become a better game developer. I think the problem when it comes to comparing like like becoming like a really good game dev, it always ends up being a comparison game. Like the person who made Pong, for instance, of their time, was an amazing game dev, but like the skills change so much so quickly that for all I know, the person who's going to become the best game dev in 2030 is someone who's really good at integrating AIs into their workflow or something. Or heck, just really good at doing performant coding because maybe the global population who accesses Roblox will continue to explode and you have to make everything work on very low end devices. And so like if you just have something that runs at 60 frames per second on an iPhone 7, that'll mean you're going to win. Like, just the actual strategy changes a lot in terms of the kinds of things that help you make a good game quickly. But one thing is for certain is that what a good game is pretty consistent. It's what people have fun with, and you should be iterating your design to match that. So I do think that that's kind of a timeless flexibility that comes with the path. Kind of. So it's an interesting thing in terms of elevation. So when I talk about elevation here, what I'm actually referring to is um, a material design concept, which is, let's see, here, you can check it out. Basically, the whole idea behind material design is it's supposed to feel kind of like a real, it's supposed to feel almost like paper. And the idea is that if you move something closer to the screen, so closer to the camera, as it were, it should look brighter, as though it's closer to a light, as though it's more elevated off the ground. And so if you check out elevation, like I showed you here, you can see that as it moves the item closer and farther away, like the shadow gets thicker, the brightness is higher. Like it pops out more, and you can get stuff like fab buttons and little pop-ups that look really good. And yeah, so that's how that works. Yeah. Hey there, person. Welcome back. How have you been? Okay, so I think okay, so this is very clearly always going to be a background. So I'm just going to make that always a background. So, hmm, actually, wait, this almost makes me feel like I should make this into a UI menu thing instead. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Okay, so now, and now we're going to return the cleanup function instead. So really the first thing we need to make is a screen GUI. Um, let's see, so name, hey there's Zayden, welcome back. See, I might end up pausing soon actually. That hunger has not gone away. So let's see, I'm just going to see if I can get the screen GUI set up. Here's something that's a bit of a headache. I have to be a little bit more intelligent with, I know I hate being intelligent. It's frustrating. Um, when it comes to how I parent the screen GUI, because when I'm demoing it, I want to parent it to like the screen itself so I can see it. Whereas when oh, well, thank you for stopping by, Gaming Zone. Good to see you as always. Hey there, malt liquor on your breath. The Superhero 2 map is changing? Yes. Yes, it is. Um, though I am trying to keep the original spirit of it to an extent. Like, let me turn on the actual render for it. But yeah, no, I think it looks pretty good. Where the buildings themselves, like, for example, this is the bank building. Let's see, this is the news tower, city hall, the labs, hospital, school, apartments, dock. This ended up becoming the mall. So mall has changed a lot, admittedly. But like we're trying to keep the same spirit of it, though we are sort of rearranging how it all fits together. I think it looks pretty good, but it is. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, the lighting I think it makes everything really go up to 10. I'm excited to have like the day night cycle on it. That'll be very nice. But yeah, no, thank you. I think people are going to really like it when it comes out. Yeah, I did mess the lighting. Usually, when I'm building the city itself, I want to keep very like sort of bland lighting so that I can make it look good in any situation. Like if I was to build everything right now, I'd probably overcorrect the colors to look good at a certain yellow. Um, the certain yellow light that you get from this time of day. Um, but yeah, so I think that this looks pretty good. What's the hardest question in programming? how long something will take. It's an impossible question that keeps billion-dollar companies up at night. There are ways that you can get better at estimating it, but it is always going to be an inherently impossible thing to predict. Because the second you can perfectly predict how long something will take, you will have essentially done the work to have created it. Because that's what coding is. Coding is just an idea. Coding is just a design. And so for you to fully understand how long a design will take to be implemented, by fully designing it, you have in fact finished doing it. You know, it's yeah. So you're always stuck kind of guessing. I haven't heard Terry Davis's take on it, but yeah, yeah, it did. It looks pretty good, I think. I can't wait till I can add custom tabs though, because I want to organize these plugins. But yeah, no, it's in the beta. First time I tried using it, it crashed, but then I checked in a week or so later, and I really like it. I've been talking with that UI team for so long about when they were going through the process of making it, and these current UI icons look amazing. It is the perfect balance between like that sort of modern wireframe aesthetic, but also still readable. So I'm very happy with how that looks. Really? Okay. I'll have to check that out. What was Terry Davis's opinion on what the hardest um, answer or hardest question is? What's the most difficult part of programming from Terry's perspective? I think my eyes itching. Okay, so I think okay, so we'll just do it this way. If run service is a or run service is running, then look, well, I feel like most people who would make their own operating system are certainly insane. Hey there, Bloxomatic. Welcome. How have you been? Hmm. Hey, nice. Enjoy. I have heard mixed things about it, so if you like it, definitely let me know. I think Eric liked it though. So um, yeah, the it might end up being a fan favorite. And as Z says, thoroughly take it away. I guess it is still divisive. Will be interesting to see how the discourse on this evolves. That'll be interesting. What's the critic score? At least it seems like the audience likes it. At the end of the day, that is who a movie's for, much to a critic's chagrin. Let's see. In the 80s, I thought it was in the 60s. Yeah, well, I'm glad that it's getting a more positive reception longer term. Okay. Let's see. I'm not sure. Well, Z, I'm not going to look it up on stream right now. I'm sorry. I'm not. I don't. I have the OBS thing set up to only show like certain windows, so I couldn't even watch it on stream if I wanted to. Yeah, and just me quietly sitting there watching some person who someone else just mentioned was actually insane tell me about problems. Might not be the best use of stream time. Okay. All right. Critics at 80, ISO 97%. All right. That's good. That's good. Well, Z, if it's only 30 seconds, you just tell me what he said. Your insistence on me watching makes me think it's just like a meme or something. Yeah. That, then tell me what was in the video. I'm not watching on stream. I'm not, I don't care if it's 10 seconds. That's not what this stream's about. It's about me slowly and slowly making progress. If he's a 200 IQ genius coder, that means he must certainly have some horribly deficient social skills, and that's why everyone else is telling me he's crazy. And so I don't know what he could possibly be saying. That it just makes me sound. It just makes it sound like he's just going on a crazy rant about the CIA putting bugs in his brain or something. The let's see. Oh, he literally had schizophrenia. My goodness, did not know that part. All right, well, is it kind of like the Temple OS guy? Oh wait, is this the Temple OS guy? Is that why I remember? Oh, okay, yeah, I know that guy. Okay, yeah. I mean, no, that guy's a sad story. Um, though I can only wonder why you would want me to watch a video of his, because I know that dude dropped a lot of slurs and incoherent nonsense. Um, yeah, I'm not watching any of his shit on straight. Yeah, no, that guy, very talented. It's very sad to see what ended up becoming of his life from the mental health side of things. Yeah, honestly, before I realized it was the Temple OS guy, I was imagining some kind of like John McAfee type, you know, just some person who went off the deep end in a very funny way. Then I think that they are certainly, I am fine reading text saying what they said. I thank you, time traveling seal. That makes more sense. Z, why are you trying to make me watch this? I'm not watching it. All it is making me distrust your judgment on this. I have done very basic animation before, Slend, but I'm still so bad at it that any type of animation is painful for me to do. Um, so look, Z, I'm sure he's a very talented guy, but I don't think I'd even call him the best programmer. Because you know what the best programmer does? Um, not rewrite their own operating system. You know, like the best programmer does not insist on making everything from scratch. You use the tools that exist. Like I'm sure the guy was very talented, but at the end of the day, there are many talented programmers out there. And if I was trying to make my own operating system, yeah, I'd probably check out some of that guy's stuff. But I'm trying to make a game that releases at some point, not, make a custom version of Windows for the Lord. It's yeah, I don't know. I think that programming is such a wide field. It's really just about problem solving. And when you don't have a problem to solve, you know, yeah, it's like when you see somebody able to eat like 100 pizzas in a row or something, where it's like, is this person the best human for being able to eat? You know, or like is this person um, you know, better than the rest of us, or did they just hyperfixate on one special thing? And I don't know. I have no doubt that that guy has a very specialized genius in order to do that. But like, I'm not taking his advice. I don't know. Like the fact is, he thought it was a good idea to make his own operating system. I like that's not it's not a good idea. There's a reason everybody builds off of other pre-existing kernels, you know? Like doing that stuff on your own just is such a waste of time unless you have a hyper specific requirement. And I think he probably just did it for fun, and that's fine. But like that's such a that is so far from the kinds of coding advice that I actually need. Yeah, no, I that's the point. Like, how do you know that God like that's the thing when it comes to advice from Terry Davis. It's like, is this an act when is it that God told him something and when is it that he's just very talented? You know, like is it like if he insists that everyone should use lower snake case for all their variables, and that Pascal case was sent from the devil. Um, is he coming at this from industry experience, or is he coming at this because he heard it in a dream? You know, and so actually deciding when he did something because it was intelligent versus because he just rolled the mental dice and did it that way. Like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like it is impressive that he made it in spite of all of his illnesses, but I do think that that does make you know, it's kind of like, what if he built an airliner or a plane or something, you know? If he built a really cool plane, like that, the fact that it flies would be very impressive. But that does not mean that Boeing, well, actually, Boeing these days maybe should, Boeing needs help. Airbus should start taking notes from him, you know? Like a part of being a good software developer is having is taking the safer route, is avoiding risk. And there is nothing riskier than writing your own kernel because God told you to. Yeah. What's that to do in the remake? Mostly the character customization stuff, and then we just start filling it with assets and sort of hooking everything up. Also, and that's when we can start doing testing. Then we got to do map interiors and base customization and some quests before a full replacement. I mean, good for him. That's cool. You can like I don't think anyone denies that Terry Davis did something cool. It's just whether he did something useful. And I don't think he did, you know? And doing stuff that's useful is hard. I have a lot of open source packages. Most of them don't get used because I didn't document them well, because I didn't make them useful enough. And yeah, how does one still go on about this? It's yeah, probably best to change topics. Well, I think if anyone's the hater, it's probably me. It's, I don't hate the guy. I feel bad for him, and I think he did something cool. But I don't I don't think that just because you did a cool thing once means that you are inherently the god of programming. Though he would probably find that statement blasphemous. Eh, so no, yeah. In terms of let's see, I think though there is certainly an art to creating code. It's just there is something that's hard to transfer. Like there are some very talented people who disagree with each other. You know, have you ever seen that with like programmers who are talented? There's like the guy who made Fusion. He is very opinionated. Seems to be very much on the functional train. Um, and then I'll see someone like Quenty, who is also very opinionated and very talented, but a little bit more, I think, open to more complex like state management. You know, take what he made and make his own version called Blend that has a little bit more memory management stuff built into it. Um, And like both those people are better programmers than me. Both those people are very talented, and they disagree with each other. And so me, as the simpleton, as the small peasant-minded individual that I am, I have to look at those two giants and decide, okay, which one fits best for me. And because they can both be very talented and they can both be correct in how they do things helps their own workflow. For example, I really think that me and Quenty share this instinct to just modularize all of our code and then save it for later. Like I have made hundreds of Wally packages, most of them garbage, but like maybe like 20 or 30 of them that are actually good. And he has made hundreds of Nevermore packages. And then at the same time, I think I've started to come around more to uh, Eltob's, the Fusion guy, his stance on using immutable data types and using functional code more often. And so, like, you got to just pick and choose which advice kind of makes the most sense. Um, yeah, and that's pretty much it. And I think that that's a kind of thing. Like there's never going to be one person who is like you need to hear this person in programming because really your programming experience is a map. There aren't so much new ideas in programming anymore as there are like new frontiers. Like the idea of functional or entity component systems or um, like imperative procedure, all these different ideas in programming, people will advocate for, and sometimes will work better in specific projects. But because everyone's project is so distinctly different, um, you kind of end up with a situation where even if functional code, is very handy, making a game fully functional is a headache. And so, yeah. Anyway, that's just my take on it. Obviously, as I've been talking about for a while, it's an area I find very interesting. Um, but yeah, what's going to be different about character customization? Um, so we're going to be approaching a few ways. For one, it's going to be a lot better of a port to different devices, so a lot more easy to use on mobile. In terms of actually hooking stuff up, we are going to be sort of taking down the boundaries a little bit, allowing you to just add assets to your character and recolor them and like layer them in certain ways. So it's going to be a lot more flexible in that sense. We're also going to be opening it up to allow for more easy integration of UGC items as I get permission to use them, of course. And so I think that it's going to be a huge upgrade. Um, the question is how there's a balancing act when you make a customization system between giving the player no control and just giving them something that looks immediately good, or giving them complete control, but possibly meaning that they have to take half an hour before they have something cool. And the people who play your game the most will be regularly using that half an hour. They will want to go super in depth. They will want to change the individual eye colors if you let them. Um, and the people who just play your game for the first time, they'll only want to take like a minute or two. And so making a system that fits for both, that allows both groups of people to be happy, that's just that's the tough part. And that's what we're working on right now. The back end systems have been made very flexible to allow for that sort of hopefully at some point like individual eye color changes and all of that stuff. But the UI, we're approaching it more from a simple, usable standpoint, which we can then expand over time. Um, so we'll just that I'm going to be working on that now, and hopefully we'll have something testable in the next week or two. But yeah, I think that's about it for today, though, y'all. Thank you so much for stopping by. I will talk to y'all later. Um, yeah. All right. Next time we'll probably today's Friday, right? Okay. So I might do a weekend stream if I'm feeling social, but I also might not stream again until Monday. But yeah, thank you all so much. Good to see some new faces here today. And I will talk to y'all next time. Peace.